live from St Vincent and the Grenadines. Arrival of the Venezuelan Vice President Delcy Rodriguez. We're now seeing the aircraft carrying President Irfan Ali arriving here at the Argyle International Airport in St Vincent. Oh, that is not the president, that's the members of his team arriving there. Sorry about that. We have some members of his delegation arriving there. We just saw the arrival of the Venezuelan Vice President Delcy Rodriguez being greeted by the Prime Minister of St Vincent and the Grenadines, Dr. Ralph Gonzalez. You know, he is hosting this summit or this meeting on behalf of CARICOM and CELAC. And so we see the members of the St Vincent and the Grenadines Defense Forces getting ready to welcome President Irfan Ali here. This plane that you see here, 8R1GY, you have members of the media, some members of the media arriving on that aircraft, some other members of the media. We see arriving here also the Minister of Communications from Guyana, the Minister within the Minister, the Prime Minister, Kwame McCoy. And we're seeing the arrival of other officials and media personnel from Guyana. Some of us came up yesterday, others are coming in this morning, so we have some of them arriving here right now. Of course, you know, President Irfan Ali has already said that he will not be going into these discussions to discuss or to have a negotiation or compromise on the Essequibo region. Venezuela has been increasing its aggression against Guyana, especially since that referendum vote, where the president of Venezuela, Nicolas Maduro, said that he will move ahead with his plans to make Guyana's Essequibo region a new Venezuelan state. Of course, you know, Guyana has rejected those plans. We've also seen the international community coming to Guyana's aid. We're seeing many of the officials from the Guyana Ministry of Foreign Affairs arriving, along with Minister Kwame McCoy. Of course, you know, some members of CARICOM will also be here for this meeting. The Barbadian Prime Minister Mia Mottley is expected to be here. They're also expecting the current chairman of CARICOM, the Prime Minister of Dominica, Roosevelt Scarrett. He's also expected to be here for this meeting. finale still to arrive. That aircraft, the one Guyana aircraft that you saw just touched down. He's coming in with another aircraft. This was the advanced aircraft for President Air Finale. You have members of the St Vincent and the Grenadines Defense Force and Police Force out here as part of the welcoming party. The Prime Minister of St Vincent and the Grenadines, Dr. Ralph Gonzalez, also here. We saw briefly just now the arrival of the Vice President of Venezuela, Delcy Rodriguez. And of course, the setting for this meeting is here at the Argyle International Airport. This is where everything will take place. They're not moving from here. They'll be meeting here for a couple of hours, or if it comes back. But they should be meeting here at the Argyle International Airport. You see the flag of Guyana, the golden arrowhead flying here, just next to the flag of Venezuela. And of course, the flag of St. Vincent and the Grenadines standing by itself. And we're seeing there the Prime Minister of Barbados, Mia Mottley, arriving for these talks. So the Prime Minister of Barbados arriving here with her own delegation for these talks. And let's listen in. Dr. Ralph Gonzalez, who's hosting these meetings, is currently giving a brief interview with the media. Let's have a quick chat.
Fire home the front, both sides. So that's why we are here. And we'll see how we can make some progress.
But if we follow the cricket metaphor, then West Indies might collapse. What the talks are likely to collapse?
We are not talking about the West Indies, we are talking about Guyana and Venezuela.
And Guyana and Venezuela, what are your prospects in terms of the talk?
I am a facilitator and I'm an interlocutor. Interlocutor means being among those who speak. And once I have them speaking, that's important.
That is all?
For the moment. We will find out later what happened. I know you want to cross-examine me about the results in advance, but you're going to get that from me because it's not in my hands.
And whose hands is it?
The two presidents.
And it is just a matter of bilaterals between the two of them then?
With facilitators and interlocutors, including the envoy from Brazil, the envoy from the Secretary General, and also of the United Nations, and ourselves in Cairo.
What about the agenda, sir?
I noticed we have a work plan. I noticed my commander-in-chief, known as Eloise, is calling me because someone has arrived whom I have to see.
We just saw the arrival of the Prime Minister of Barbados, Mia Mottley. Prime Minister Mottley, good morning. How are you doing? Heading into these talks, Madam, your thoughts about the two presidents meeting, and what are you hoping to get out of it?
The mere fact that we are here says everything. So let us not prejudice it. Let us just stay focused on what we've come to do. Okay? Barry, how are you?
I'm all right.
Barry?
Yeah, Gary. So the Prime Minister of
We just saw the arrival of the Prime Minister of Barbados and giving us brief comment that she doesn't want to prejudice those talks, and the fact that we're here is some progress. Of course, you know, as the Prime Minister of St. Vincent and the Grenadines explained. St Vincent and the Grenadines facilitating these talks. The talks came out of CELAC and CARICOM calling the two heads of government, the two heads of state, President Irfan Ali and the Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro, and getting them to the table to have this discussion. Of course, President Irfan Ali is going into this meeting, and he's already said that those discussions will not include the Essequibo region. He has said that there's no compromise on that. There will be no dialogue on the Essequibo and no negotiation on Guyana's Essequibo region. So the president making that very clear. We're still out here at the Argyle International Airport in St Vincent and the Grenadines. Gordon Mosley reporting to you live. We've seen the arrival so far of the Venezuelan Vice President Delcy Rodriguez. She came in just a few moments ago. We also saw the arrival of the Prime Minister of Barbados, Mia Mottley, and we also saw them greeting and having discussions briefly with the host Prime Minister, Dr. Ralph Gonzalez. So we're awaiting the arrival of President Irfan Ali right now. I think the Prime Minister of Dominica is expected to also join these talks. He is the current chairman of CARICOM, and you know CARICOM playing a key role in these discussions. CARICOM has made its point very clear about Venezuela needing to respect those orders that were recently handed down by the International Court of Justice, that's the ICJ, on the 1st of December, saying that Venezuela should take no action against Guyana's Essequibo, against the Essequibo region, that the status quo remains, and also ordering or ruling that both countries should not do anything to aggravate the situation. Of course, since then we have seen many moves by Venezuela, and President Irfan Ali has made it clear that Guyana's position remains clear and remains the same going into these talks, writing the Prime Minister of St Vincent twice over the past couple of days, explaining Guyana's position and making Guyana's position clear. We also have officials from Brazil arriving here for these discussions. The Brazilian president, Lula, has indicated that he will not be here at the talks, but he has sent representatives to be here for these discussions. And for those of you now joining us, we're coming to you from the Argyle International Airport in St Vincent and the Grenadines, where President Irfan Ali is about to arrive. Of course, he'll be meeting here today with the President of Venezuela, Nicolas Maduro. You know, Venezuela has been increasing its rhetoric, has been increasing its threats and aggression against Guyana. Only recently, we saw Venezuela hosting a referendum and saying that they will move ahead with plans to make Guyana's Essequibo a part of Venezuela. Guyana, of course, has rejected those plans. We have seen widespread rejection and condemnation coming out of other international organizations like the Commonwealth, like the Organization of American States, like the OAS, that is the Organization of American States, and like CARICOM. We have one of the planes moving out, so I'll take a break here from the commentary. Coming to you from St Vincent and the Grenadines, where right now we are awaiting the arrival of the President of Guyana, President Irfan Ali. We're also awaiting the arrival of the President of Venezuela. We see the band and the military making another move. And we have President Irfan Ali now arriving. And here he is, President Irfan Ali arriving here in St Vincent for these discussions, being greeted by the Prime Minister of St Vincent and the Grenadines. And of course they're posting a guard of honor here for him. President Irfan Ali arriving here is also being joined by his foreign minister and other officials. Mr. President, you're here for these talks early. As you head into these talks, this is the day. What are you taking in with you?
Taking away the facts. I'm taking the facts with me, that's all. And the facts remain that the 1899 award clearly defines the borders of Guyana and Venezuela, and that is the fact.
We see there the arrival of President Irfan Ali. We also have joining us the Attorney General, the Minister of Foreign Affairs, the Foreign Secretary, and other members of the delegation with the Guyana President.
Other reps from the delegate, from the Guyana delegate.
So President Irfan Ali making an early arrival here in St Vincent and the Grenadines. Let's try to get in. We saw President Ali being escorted into that meeting room by the Prime Minister of St Vincent. So you see the arrival there of President Irfan Ali. We also saw him being accompanied by his Attorney General, Senior Counsel Anil Nandlao, also being accompanied by the Minister of Foreign Affairs, Hugh Todd, the Foreign Secretary, Robert Prasad. The Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs is also here, Ambassador Elizabeth Harper. And many other persons from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs here. A large delegation from Guyana for these very, very important talks. I'm going to try to head back out to the tarmac side to give you the arrival of the Venezuelan president when he comes in. We saw members of the Venezuelan military. They're here, and in fact they're here with a jet that has at the back of it El Essequibo, making reference to Guyana's Essequibo region.
Special provisional measures that Venezuela on that cannot
Currently waiting on the arrival of the President of Venezuela, Nicolas Maduro, for these discussions. Of course, you know, President Irfan Ali has been reiterating that the border controversy was settled since 1899 and that Venezuela's claim is completely illegal. Guyana made a decision back in 2018 to take the case before the International Court of Justice, and that came after decades and years of talks between Guyana and Venezuela about the controversy. You know, those talks were facilitated earlier by the United Nations Good Offices process, and in the Geneva Agreement it allowed that once those talks ran their course, that the Secretary General of the United Nations would make a decision on where they should go for a final settlement of the controversy. And he chose the International Court of Justice. And so that's where the case is right now, and that's where the case will be ongoing. Of course, you know, Venezuela has said it does not recognize the court's jurisdiction, but while saying so, Venezuela has turned up for every court hearing on the matter. We've seen them in the court. We've seen the Vice President of Venezuela, who is one of their agents, making statements during those court hearings in The Hague. President Irfan Ali telling us briefly as he arrived that he'll be going into these talks with the facts, making it clear that those facts are clear, that Essequibo belongs to Guyana and it shall remain so. President Ali making that very clear as he goes into these talks. He has said that there will be no negotiation, no compromise, no dialogue on the Essequibo or the case before the International Court. Venezuela has been trying to get Guyana to move away from the International Court and go back to those talks. But President Irfan Ali and the government of Guyana, they've held to their position over the years that listen, the case is before the ICJ, and that's where they will have the case settled. So as it is now, we are waiting the arrival of the President of Venezuela, Nicolas Maduro. We saw earlier the arrival of the Prime Minister of Barbados, Mia Mottley. We also saw the arrival of officials from Brazil. They're all here to be part of these discussions. We saw the arrival of officials also from Colombia and other countries that make up the CELAC group. President Irfan Ali coming into these talks with a clearly defined map of Guyana on his tie, and also wearing a pin with the map of Guyana, a golden pin with the map of Guyana and the lapel of his suit. And as I mentioned, you saw him being accompanied by the Attorney General, Senior Counsel Anil Nandlao, the Minister of Foreign Affairs, Utah, the Foreign Secretary Robert Basad, the Permanent Secretary of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Ambassador Elizabeth Harper, is also here. And we also saw the Director of Frontiers at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. She's also here, a part of that large Guyana delegation going into these talks. What we've been hearing so far in terms of how these discussions will go, we understand that the CARICOM and CELAC group will first hold a discussion with the two leaders separately. So they are expected to first hold a discussion with the two leaders separately, then that joint talks between the two leaders. So we are not sure who will be called up first, whether it will be Guyana or Venezuela, but what we've been told so far is that they will meet with the two leaders separately, then the two leaders will go into that meeting together. That's what we were told as of yesterday. We're not sure if that plan remains in place. We're seeing the arrival of some officials here, appear to be from Venezuela, a private Conviasa airline plane. So they're trying to see who they are. But security here in St Vincent is on high alert. Since yesterday, we've seen the Commissioner of Police here in St Vincent, based at the airport, addressing everything. We've also seen him addressing the media, giving us briefings from time to time. We see the police commissioner giving the media a little briefing there about how they're expected, what they're expected to do at these meetings. Of course, the media will not be a part of the actual meeting, will not be in the room, but we're expecting to hear from the presidents before and possibly after the meeting. We're seeing a large contingent, all dressed in white shirt jacks, seems to be part of the delegation from Venezuela. So we're seeing their arrival now. Members of the media and security officials and other officials from Venezuela. And we're seeing the parties moving again, which indicates that they're probably expecting the arrival anytime of the Venezuelan president. We're seeing some movement by the Prime Minister, welcoming some officials there. We're trying to get a word in or to see who they are. But we're seeing some officials there moving in right now. In case you're now joining us, we're coming to you live from the Argyle International Airport in St Vincent and the Grenadines. The setting for today's meeting between President Irfan Ali and Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro. President Irfan Ali arriving moments ago here for these discussions and these talks. We're now awaiting the arrival of the Venezuelan president. We're seeing an advance team for him, just arriving along with members of the Venezuelan media. But the Venezuelan president expected to arrive anytime. These discussions, of course, you have the leaders going into this meeting with their own thoughts on what these discussions will be about. The president of Guyana, President Irfan Ali, making it very clear that there will be no dialogue, there will be no discussions, there will be no dialogue, there will be no negotiation, and there will be no compromise on Guyana's Essequibo region and that controversy, and there will be no compromise on the case before the International Court of Justice. The Venezuelan president has been saying that he sees these talks as an opening of the dialogue, an opening of dialogue that he believes is needed between Guyana and Venezuela. Of course, we're now awaiting the arrival of the president of Venezuela. Trying to see if this is the Venezuelan president arriving. I'm not getting a clear idea of that. They're asking the media to stay back a bit. You see the band making some moves here. We are waiting here the arrival of the President of Venezuela, Nicolas Maduro. You see the Venezuelan Vice President, Delcy Rodriguez, going up the stairs there, and she's expected to usher out the President of Venezuela, Nicolas Maduro. We see some of the officials here from Venezuela going to these meetings, and they're carrying maps that include Guyana's Essequibo region. So that is expected to cause an issue, more than likely, at these talks. You see them there, officials from Venezuela, with those maps. We're here awaiting the arrival of the Venezuelan President, Nicolas Maduro. We see the Prime Minister of St Vincent and the Grenadines, Dr. Rob Gonzalez, at the bottom of the stairs from this aircraft that just landed with the Venezuelan President. We saw the Vice President of Venezuela, Delcy Rodriguez, going on the plane to probably have a quick brief with her President. She came in about an hour before this arrival. Of course, you know, these are high-stakes talks, so Guyana making it very clear its position on these discussions, that there will be no compromise, no negotiation on the Essequibo region. The international community has been backing Guyana, and we've seen statements coming out of all the major players. The Commonwealth, that's been the 7-member group. CARICOM, the Organization of American States. We've seen statements coming out of the UN, and here we see the Venezuelan president coming out now. And here he's emerging, the president of Venezuela, Nicolas Maduro. Greeting the Prime Minister of St Vincent and Grenadines, Dr. Rob Gonzalez. And of course there's going to be a salute as usual for when there's a head of state arriving. President Maduro saying that he wants to go into these talks, begin dialogue on Guyana's Essequibo region. Of course, you know there was that referendum in Venezuela, and President Maduro is saying that referendum has given him the power on behalf of the people to move ahead with his plans to annex Guyana's Essequibo region. Of course, that move was rejected by not only Guyana, but the international community. Of course, these discussions will be closed door. The discussion, they're expected to meet separately with the CARICOM and CELAC officials before the two presidents come face to face to begin their talks. The Prime Minister of Barbados is also here. The Prime Minister of Dominica expected to be here too. He is the current chair of CARICOM, and of course the meeting being hosted by the Prime Minister of St Vincent and the Grenadines, Dr. Robert Zaz, saying he's an interlocutor for these talks and these discussions.
El guyanés, este que está aquí, este que está aquí.
No push, no push, no push.
Hello, keep there, keep there.
You see the Venezuelan president speaking there to members of the Venezuelan media and the security team trying to push away some of the other members of the Venezuelan and international media. So there you have the arrival of the President of Venezuela, Nicolas Maduro. We saw the arrival earlier of President Irfan Ali. President Irfan Ali saying he's going into these meetings, this meeting with the facts and holding firm to his position that Essequibo belongs to Guyana. There's no budging on that. The President telling me that there will be no budging of that. He's going to hold that line throughout these meetings. This is where we'll have to be wrapping up our broadcast for now. Of course, as information come to us and the leaders come before the media, during the course of the day, we'll try to get you more information on how these talks will go. As I mentioned earlier, we saw Venezuela, one of their military planes arriving here with the markings at the back saying the Essequibo. And we also saw the Venezuelan officials arriving here in St Vincent carrying maps of Venezuela, which includes Guyana's Essequibo region. So it's very clear that these talks are going to be very, very contentious, as expected. We're going to see how it goes. As I mentioned earlier, they're going to meet with the two leaders separately before they then sit down with them face to face. Coming to you live from St Vincent and the Grenadines, this is Gordon Mosley reporting. Please stay with us here at newssourcegi.com as we will continue to bring you the very latest from here in St Vincent and the Grenadines.